to tonight's edition of Resuscitation Leadership Conversations. We are live right here from Greater Glory International Ministries, which is under the pastoralship of Pastor Ron Rambe. And this show is proudly brought to you but by Ron's Media. Now, it is an evening, of course. I am here. I'm not alone. I'm sitting with a guest. You remember our last conversation, we were talking about mandatory vaccines and what the law says about mandatory vaccines. And in part one, we were talking about mandatory vaccines against the Constitution. But there is an elephant that is in the room, and this is mandatory vaccines within the workplace. A number of people have heard about vaccines being made mandatory in companies, and which threatens their livelihood and jobs. And a lot of people are worried about what is going to happen if this is made mandatory and it is against their choice or against their religion. And this is an issue that we have brought on the table tonight with my guest. We are following it up on this particular one. Mandatory vaccines within the workplace. Does this constitute a breaking of the law by companies who choose to do that? We have heard in the past companies like Sasol are considering and contemplating making vaccines mandatory. We have heard of Discovery, which is also going against, going to put together such kind of policy or rules within their operations to make it mandatory. But also, we have heard from government that says, no, there is no intention to make vaccines mandatory. But we all know that in June 2020, there were regulations that were updated in as far as health and safety, occupational health and safety procedures were all about. And now, that to many, it is an issue of government not wanting to dirty their hands, but also leaving it to companies to decide whether they should actually follow on this one. But the challenge of that is companies are expected to report back to the government in terms of what their stance is all about. Okay, I am not alone and I'm not a legal expert. I'm just a talking machine, and the legal expert is here. Our lawyer, and I call him advocate, of course, for reasons that you may not understand. And he is Kharikhode, Obidience Gogome. Here we are tonight. We continue with our conversation. This is part two of what we discussed last 2 weeks ago. Last week, when we spoke, you indicated to say that the government would find that this kind of case, if it goes to court, it will definitely be challenging the government in a manner that it would set precedents. Here we are now with these mandatory vaccines in the workplace. How dangerous is this particular one when it goes to the courts?
Yeah, no, thank you very much for having me tonight.
Yeah.
To deal with this not so easy topic.
Yeah.
It is in the mouth of people. I mean, around our nation.
Yeah.
And also beyond the boundaries of our nation. With regards to the vaccination in the workplaces,
yeah,
already we have heard of labor unions challenging or clearly saying that this will never see the light of the day.
Yeah.
Because they are saying that no, if you force our members, like the employees, to be vaccinated, then you are taking away their constitutional right from them.
Yeah.
But already, like you have indicated, already there's a framework from the government.
Yeah.
Regarding or concerning mandatory vaccination in workplaces.
Yeah.
And you are very right. The government is leaving it in the hands of companies.
Yeah.
Because there is a framework on how companies should go about.
almost like saying to companies, this you must do.
In mandatory vaccination.
Yeah.
But what is also interesting is that in the framework, it says that the companies should also inform the employee of his or her rights as well. And also, employees are given an opportunity to object.
Yeah.
To say
they're given that opportunity to say no.
Yeah, to say no. And these are my grounds for saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one tries to reconcile the two, mandatory and objection.
Yeah.
Because if my understanding is that if something is mandatory, it's compulsory. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But in this case, one can object either on medical grounds or on religious in short, one can object based on constitutional grounds. In a way, yeah. One can say that no, I've got a right to say no. I've got a right to practice my religion freely.
Yeah.
And that's so important. Then that should be protected.
Yeah.
But however, one should also look at it to say, here we're trying to balance the two. We want to balance the health and safety in the work environment against the constitutional right of individual employees.
And let's be honest, because the companies have an obligation to ensure that their employees are safe.
True.
And if they play reckless on it,
yeah,
they might find themselves, sitting with lawsuits and lawsuits. That
yes.
That make bankrupt the company.
Yes, that is why they have a very huge mountain to climb.
Yeah.
To say, how do you go about in making sure that, okay, you keep the workplace safe.
Yeah.
And again, you don't contravene against
the
labor laws and also the constitutional rights that people have. Yeah. So it's going to be very difficult. But however, like I'm saying, employees have a right to say no.
Yeah.
The Constitution protects me. But again, it also says the employer must also look at the nature of the work they do.
Now you see.
Yeah, and even maybe the position that the employee holds within the company.
And the exposure of the employee to the public.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to deal with. But we all know that vaccination is not guaranteed that when you're vaccinated, you won't be infected. I mean,
or you won't infect others.
Yeah, or you won't infect others. So one tried to say, okay, what's the reason behind to say, okay, if you're not vaccinated, then you put the next person at the risk.
Yeah.
In what way? Because even if you're vaccinated, then you can still be infected.
Yeah.
And you can still pass it to the next person. Because what it does is that it reduces the possibility of you being hospitalized or you experiencing the severe symptoms of the virus. Of the virus. Now, but you can still pass it to the next person, as far as I know, subject to maybe medical advice. Scientists maybe they can advise somehow, but from a lay person's perspective with regards to medical science, then you can still pass it to the next person.
And that has been confirmed by all. The issue is on the severity of the infection and so forth. But you know what I want us to touch on? I want us to touch on the messaging part. Do you feel that the government is one way speaking in folk tongues, in a manner that you are now saying to the regulations that you put against companies, they seem to be strong arming the companies to go on and implement the mandatory vaccination, whereas the message that comes from them, from their own institutions, is to say no, everybody has the right. And in that way, how do companies actually play within that? Do you think the messaging of government is somehow fogged in a way?
Yeah, that is why. Yeah, you are right. I think the government is singing in two different tunes here.
Yeah.
because in writing, in their framework that are issued by the Department of Labor,
Yeah.
there's a guideline for
Yeah. Mm. Scores of people. Yeah. And mm, yeah, because now and these companies are operating in different fields. There are companies that are operating in an environment that is less populated. There are companies that are operating in environments where it's too populated. But even those that are operating in too populated environments, there are individuals within the companies who are not really in the exposure of everything else. Now, they it's like they've been given a huge task of just demarcating all this and creating an environment where it will be satisfactory for everyone in a manner that um, the whole situation would not actually go. But at the same time, with the principle of help us to push the the public to be vaccinated, it's it seems very unthoughtful, and that's my worry to say when it comes from government and such kind of unthoughtfulness. Where are we going? Mm, yeah, to reach the target. Yeah. I was hearing the milestone of 20 million during the course of the week. In fact, as from yesterday or so. Yeah.
let's look at vaccination in the workplace and the reasons thereof this mandatory vaccination, the issue of health and safety. One can ask a question as to say the masks, the sanitizers, social distancing, and all those protocols, were they not, I mean, enough? Were they not sufficient to safeguard or for safety of employees? Because if one can be vaccinated and still one can pass the virus to the next person, then how are you then ensuring safety by vaccine? Are you concerned about the safety of the next person or my safety? Because I think that the main issue is with the person who's not vaccinating. To say, or if you are not vaccinating, then you are the one who's at risk, maybe, of experiencing severe symptoms that can land you in a hospital bed. Yeah. 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 Yeah, no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm, mm,
utilize our people in a manner that perhaps you would find that they fall into certain things against their will simply because there's a target to be met, and that for me it sort of creates a bit of misunderstanding.
yeah.
Why are we so impressed by the targets more than saving people's lives?
Hey, one may not know why or what that target is, or what is the motivation for the target.
Yeah.
But as you are saying, nothing is for free. Uh, yes, we receive donations, but I mean, experience tells us that nothing is for free.
Mm.
We look at the state capture, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, this it started with donations and all that.
And in the
Yeah,
end, we
yeah, and we know how where it landed us at. But I think you also touched the issue of an option to vaccinate, or an option to prove to the employer,
yeah,
say that no, I've been vaccinated, and this is the proof thereof.
yeah,
Yes, looking at the commentators on the framework,
yeah.
their comments and all that, that is still an option. Even for now,
Mm.
it's still an option
Yeah.
to say that you can still say that no, I'm okay. Here's a proof that I'm okay. So
But
it's still an option, but remember what we are talking about is yet to be implemented. It's yet to be practiced,
yeah,
because companies haven't started practicing it. I
yeah,
think you have read of Discovery. Apparently, they want to start doing it next year
yeah,
in 2022. Yeah, but we are still waiting to see
yeah.
if that will see the light of the day. Yeah.
You know, for me, it's like when I look at it, that is why I'm so particular when it comes to the messaging,
Yeah.
because it sounds more like the messaging of a few individual companies is to say, hey, let's push the target. Otherwise we are implementing next year. But the reality of that implementation plan has not really been communicated. It looks like even the employees themselves don't know exactly what how it's going to roll out.
Yeah, I think it's a question of instilling fear. It's a question of instilling fear, knowing that if you instill fear, quickly people will go and vaccinate.
Yeah,
And as they quickly go and vaccinate, then you reach the targets.
yeah.
Yes, you'll have those few who may object, who may resist, but with that instilling of fear, you have
The majority
you'll
would
have
actually
numbers
run.
that you wouldn't have
Yeah.
had you not instilled the fear.
Okay. I think one of some of these things we will actually talk about them when we come back from a short break, and but particularly when we come back, I want us and
Yeah.
companies and just zoom into the companies themselves.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us on Resuscitation Leadership Conversations tonight. And we are taking a break. Advocate Gogome and myself are coming back. We are still continuing with this conversation. Don't shift. Not at all. Do you want to start a crash or a daycare center? Or maybe you and your staff want to improve your skills and qualifications in early childhood development. EduBuild Institute Thoyando campus is your answer. We have 20 years experience in skills development and offer professional training courses for ECD level 4 and 5. You don't need prior training or even matric certificate to register. Our classes are on Saturdays at TCN Center in Zwerani. Upon completion, you will be registered with the South African Council of Educators, or SAIS in short. Registration for 2022 is open. Remember, no metric certificate is required. Call us on 068-392-1730, or you can WhatsApp us on the same number, 068-392-1730. EduBuild Institute, Thoyando campus, situated at TCN Center, Zeran. EduBuild, reach, teach, and build a child today. Welcome back to Resuscitation Leadership Conversations. My name is Mano Ramadwa. I'm sitting with Mr. Kharikhode Gogome, who is an attorney. And of course, we are discussing this big elephant in the room of the workplace, the issue that makes every employee wonder as to what is going to happen with me in the next 3, 4, 5 months with regards to compulsory vaccinations. And just before we went to the break, I indicated that we will be coming back and we'll zoom a little bit into companies. And I just want us to take us back to where we spoke about the guidelines that were given by government to the companies, where it was indicated that companies need to be able to indicate and make it clear whether they intend to make vaccination mandatory within their workplaces, and also the category of employees that must be vaccinated. And I need to stress out the issue of must be vaccinated, and the manner in which it will adhere to the directive of mandatory vaccinations, and also how it will measure the implementation of the vaccinations. So you can see, in terms of what the guidelines are all about, it sort of pushes or strong arms companies to take a decision, because they have to now report back. If they report back and say, we don't see the need and we don't intend to make vaccination within our workplace compulsory, what then happens? Are they going to be in good standing with government? And these are some of the things that we need to actually be able to unravel and check in order to get to this point. Now, we have spoken about the legality of it, that whether it's companies, whether it's government, they don't really have the legal standing that can actually make them force. And let's look at the companies themselves. Is it an issue of their profits, or is it an issue of the standing with government for them to be to keep a balancing act between the mandatory or non-mandatory kind of vaccinations that are going to take place in their own environments?
Yeah, I think it will differ with maybe the nature of business that a company does.
Yeah.
With some companies, obviously, you have employees who are working apart from each other.
Yeah.
Some are working from
like this e-hailing business.
Yeah.
They normally
yeah. So they're working, in isolation.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter, because profits, whether they vaccinate or not.
Yeah.
But they will still work normally, and you won't necessarily have a lot of. But indeed, if in a working environment, majority of employees are sick,
yeah,
then it's likely to affect the profits of the company.
Yeah.
Because you are having employees who might sit at home for a couple of weeks,
yeah,
for 2 weeks to 3 weeks, recovering from the virus.
Yeah.
And they may be unable to work depending on the nature of work they do. For example, let's say here is a production company where you are producing, for example, beverages, drinking, it's either your alcohol or your soft drinks.
Yeah.
And you have a number of employees who are laid off because who are in sick leave,
in isolation and sick leave.
Yeah. So obviously it will affect your profitability.
Yeah.
But yes, again, it's a question. Here you have a vaccinated employee and is infected of the virus.
Yeah.
Are you going to expect that employee to work or to sit at home?
Yeah.
Because once you're infected, they tell you that no, you sit at home.
Yeah.
Will they apply different approach in those who are vaccinated and against those who are not?
Now you see that is the part which I wanted to come in, because when you speak about a differentiated approach, is it now not going to bring in another problem of discrimination within the same workplace environment?
No,
because
it can.
How will that actually be handled now? Because truly, some will feel like they are second-rated, while others are feeling more like they are taken, or rather considered highly in that case, because of whether they've taken the jab or not.
Yeah, because I want us to look at this. You have employee A and B.
Yeah.
A is vaccinated. B is not. They are all infected of the virus. I can we agree, Uri, even if you are vaccinated, you can still be infected.
Yeah.
And they are infected. And I am the employer.
Yeah.
Do I ask both to go to stay at home?
Yeah. Because both of them
Or
are.
both of them are infected.
Yeah. Or you. Or
do
you
I
say,
retain the vaccinated one?
Yeah.
Because you are no, you're vaccinated, but you're infected. But when you're vaccinated, you can continue working.
Yeah.
But this one is not vaccinated.
Yeah, go home because you're the most dangerous one.
You're the most
and the danger now is
danger
determined.
to who? Yeah,
it's not determined by the virus that infected, but it's determined by the fact that yours is not.
Because truth be told, there are people who never vaccinated, and when they got infected, you know, their symptoms were less severe.
Yeah.
Some didn't even know that they have a virus until they vaccinate. But yes, there's an interesting incident that took place, I think, a week or two ago.
Yeah.
A friend, a colleague's wife,
yeah,
was being forced to vaccinate at her workplace.
Yeah.
And then she phoned the department. I think it's the Department of Agriculture, because where she's stationed, they were forcing her. She's in a farm. She's doing some work in a farm.
Yeah.
So apparently the owner of the farm was saying, "No, you must be vaccinated to come in here."
Yeah.
And then she phoned the department, saying, "Department, this guy here is saying, if I'm not vaccinating, then I shouldn't come anymore." And the department responded to say, "No one is forced to vaccinate."
Now already it means the employer.
And she didn't vaccinate.
And that farmer is now sitting on the back foot.
Yes.
Because if he sits now with, say, another 20 people that had not vaccinated, as a result of this one, who is not an employee of the company, he's now disempowered to implement what the government was actually seeking him to implement.
Yes.
And that discrimination itself can actually lead to something else.
Though the government, again, the very same government that says, here is a guideline of what to follow if you want to mandate or to force your employees, to compel your employees to be vaccinated. In one of the guidelines, give them an opportunity to object. Yeah. So the lady, I don't know if she was aware of this, but she was exercising her right to say, "I object."
But also another bigger issue is the value chain within businesses. You make your company a compulsory vaccination company, right? But the people who are rendering the service to you, their company does not actually take the mandatory vaccination. So in that value chain, how do you deal with the services now? Because you depend on this company, which is not actually mandating its own employees to be vaccinated. And then all of a sudden, because all your employees have been vaccinated, how do you manage that as businesses? This sounds to me like a serious mess.
There's a serious confusion here, because you cannot reject products from company B. Yeah, that does not force its employees to vaccinate. Because when you believe in forced vaccination, and you really need products from this company. Yeah. Hey, I think sometimes, hence we highlighted the issue of reaching a certain target. Yeah. It's like there's a rush. There's pressure. Yeah. To reach a certain target. Because here you're forcing, I mean, someone who's well, strong, healthy. Yeah. Saying go and vaccinate. And he goes to vaccinate just for the target. To add the numbers.
Tick box.
Yeah, we have vaccinated. We have vaccinated. Here's another question. Is it solely about reaching the numbers? Yeah. Or is the government, sitting government, concerned about the health and safety of its citizens? Because if we are to look at this carefully, look at how I violated this the last time we were here. Yeah. Service delivery. Can one really believe, can one really be convinced that this government cares about its citizens?
Do you have to go far? I can tell you exactly where you need to go now.
Yeah.
In order to have an answer to that.
Yeah.
You just need to go around, join the main reef, and
Princess.
You go. Princess.
Yeah.
And just go and find that pool which is on the road.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, if the measure of caring was compared to the measure of caring for the people of Princess, that island, or rather that pool, or you can call it a lake, it would not have existed in there.
There are people in KZN. I saw it on the news.
Yeah.
Since the dawn of democracy, they do not know what running water is.
Yo.
And those people now, as a government, you want to force them to vaccinate, because obviously in that community there are people who are working, who are working in different companies.
Yeah.
They get there and they are forced to vaccinate in the name of the framework from the government.
Yeah.
Because the government that is, putting these policies in place.
Yeah.
And do you really think you are being forced or asked to vaccinate because they care about you?
No, not really.
I doubt.
Not really. You know, when you speak about that,
I doubt.
We spoke about what is happening in other provinces, in Madibeng and all those other provinces.
Yes.
Remember in the beginning of it, when COVID was coming up, and the issue of washing hands was given so much prominence. There were trucks and trucks of water that was supposed to have gone to places like that, which have been struggling with water issues.
That breaks my heart.
And today, it's as if that decision was never made.
That breaks my heart.
But the message and same government is going to all those areas and those people talking about vaccination. Now, even during the time of elections. I still agree with you on this particular one to say it does not look like the concentration is the same, because if this is more important and people need to be healthier, surely you would have done much more to provide them with resources that will make them healthier in the sense of washing their hands and be clean and all those kind of things, so that you remove such kind of risk and then concentrate on other things. And even if it's vaccination at a later stage, you concentrate on it knowing that these people have also their own way of, trying to fight away the infection in a way. You would have also dealt with these potholes that are in these areas, so that because people are passing by there and they are going in with their shoes.
Oh, some are passing by going to municipal offices.
Going to municipal offices.
Going to the Department of Roads and Transport.
Yeah, sure.
And now one is convinced that this government takes care of them. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So that is why we've got talks like this. That is why we even have a resistance from different sectors of the society.
Different sectors of society.
Because people, can see what is happening.
Yeah.
People can see. People can join the dots and ask questions. There's something very interesting in this framework which says the employer must give the employee information about the vaccine.
Yeah.
There's something that I've heard the question that I heard several times in the street corners, asking, what are these vaccines made of?
Yeah. I love my coffee, right? And I do buy my coffee, and before I even buy it, I turn around and check what's the amount of energy that is involved here? What are the other things that have been used? And do we really have access to that?
I don't think we've got that level of transparency as to what is contained in the vaccines. And those are the things that people would like to know. But what I would say is really, we have a right to question this.
Yeah.
And we understand when people question this. The issue of water that you have indicated, you are giving people water because you want them to wash their hands because there is COVID.
Yeah.
But now, where were you before COVID? Government, where were you?
Hey.
Where were you in the past 25 years?
I want us to come back. When we come back, we are also going to touch on, as I was preparing for this, I found a letter. It's a legal letter, an opinion, a legal opinion from a particular company. And I'll just share some of the issues that they have raised with regards to these mandatory vaccines. But apart from that, they have touched on, if I can just read this, the following legislation is applicable to the subject of the above mentioned legal questions. And number one says the South African Constitution. 2, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act of 75, Act 75 of 1997, the Disaster Management Act 57 of 2002, Employment Equity Act of 55 of 1996, Labor Relations Act 66 of 1995, National Health Act 61 of 2003, Occupational Health and Safety Act Act number 95 of 1993. Now, if you look at all these legal frameworks, if you look at all these laws,
the acts,
that means it's a lot to consider, because all these must definitely be satisfied. But we'll deal with that when we come back. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And we are continuing with Kharikhode Gogome discussing the issue of mandatory vaccines. And all we do is to bring information to your table and you make the decision yourself, because information is power. Don't move away. We are continuing. We are coming back.
Do you want to start a creche or a daycare center? Or maybe you and your staff want to improve your skills and qualifications in early childhood development? EduBuild Institute Thohoyandou campus is your answer. We have 20 years experience in skills development and offer professional training courses for ECD level 4 and 5. You don't need prior training or even matric certificate to register. Our classes are on Saturdays at TCN Center in Zwerani. Upon completion, you will be registered with the South African Council of Educators, or SAIS in short. Registration for 2022 is open. Remember, no matric certificate is required. Call us on 068-392-1730, or you can WhatsApp us on the same number, 068-392-1730. EduBuild Institute, Thohoyandou campus, situated at TCN Center, Zwerani. EduBuild. Reach, teach, and build a child today.
Welcome back to Resuscitation Leadership Conversations. My name is Mano Ramadwa, and we continue with discussion with Kharikhode Gogome, an attorney from Gogome Attorneys. Of course, you will get to hear much more of what they do at a later stage. But as we talk here, we are talking about the issues of mandatory vaccines in the workplace. And all we are doing is to break it down so that you would be able to find ways and means of mitigating and mediating through this conversation. Because it sounds so much like a big elephant which is locked up in a room. But all we are doing is to try and find a way that this elephant maybe should have an exit that is dignified. Kharikhode, let's continue with this one. When we went for the break, I was just indicating how a certain organization went on to look for a legal opinion. And one of the things that and that is why it touches back to what you were saying, to say it's a very difficult situation that employers are going to sit with. And in one of the questions that this legal opinion raises to the government is about the, just trying to give an environment to say employers have an obligation to protect their employees and maintain a healthy and safe environment. So that is not disputable.
Yes.
when considering whether to implement a mandatory vaccine policy, employers must have regard to their individual workplaces and assess whether such a policy is in fact necessary, taking into account inter alia the following factors. And this is where you have spoken about that, to say the employers must actually go back and look at their own environment. And here are some of the things that they've actually indicated there. The viability of continued remote work. These are options. and some of these companies we were talking about it, if it is brewery, for example,
Yeah.
They have network connections where people who are doing quality control could do quality control or quality assurance while working from home, because the internet has connected everything else. They are able to go into their systems and do that quality check and things like that. But the viability of that, not all companies have that, but a number of vulnerable employees in the workplace, those who are sick, the effectiveness of the addition of PPEs where necessary, temporary alternative placements, the employees' exposure to the public, and the number of employees with religious and medical grounds for objection. So all those legalities that we spoke about in the beginning have been contained in this kind of question. What room do the employers have to play with regards to this? Because all these, one way or another, you break this, you are bound to go to the CCMA.
Yeah, because one can also ask a question with regards to the issue of PPEs.
Yeah.
And their effectiveness in protecting one from contracting the virus.
Exactly.
And maybe also one should look at what were the major causes of the spread of the virus.
Yeah.
Because if one is to look carefully at the general conduct of South Africans, it's a shame that I'm also a citizen, but there's too much lawlessness in this country. You look at how people have been behaving, particularly in your liquor outlets and all that.
Yeah.
You could tell that this is the super spreader.
Yeah.
So the question is, work environments, are they super spreaders?
Yeah. I agree with
you. Because I think that space, it's a space that is highly and effectively controlled.
Yeah, everybody is busy with their.
You go to your net bank now, to your FNB.
Yeah.
You must have your mask on. You sanitize.
Yeah.
Is that not effective enough?
And everybody else is. I many times, sometimes I forget.
Yeah.
But you get into an outlet.
Yeah.
And then maybe you use this other entrance.
Yeah.
And then you hear someone who's standing by the gate by the entrance to make sure that everything else, calling you back to say come back and sanitize. The implementation thereof in companies, it's very effective.
Yes. All I'm saying is, companies, if they are to look at the number of infections they had and the causes thereof, because we need to be, careful in looking at that.
Yeah.
Is the virus spreading within the workplace due to external factors?
Yeah.
Or is it due to, the happenings, the situation within?
Yeah.
Hence, there are a lot of factors involved. Because if you have a country where people do as they like, they behave the way they want to behave, they don't have respect for police, for law enforcement officers. What do you have? What is the result? The result will be this. And who is to blame?
Yeah. Those were lawmakers.
The lawmakers.
Yeah.
There's a statement that people have mentioned several times, and I've heard some people saying that no, you can't compare this government and the apartheid government. But to tell you the truth, there are some of the good that the previous administration or the government had
Yeah.
compared to this one.
You cannot,
You had respect for a police officer.
you cannot throw the baby with bath water,
Yeah.
because the baby you have cleaned, but the bath water is dirty. Remove the baby from the
Keep the baby. Keep the baby. You keep the baby. You keep the. So there are a lot of issues. I think this has presented an opportunity for us as a nation
yeah.
to self-introspect,
Mm.
to say, where are we going?
Yeah.
Because the principal, during the level 5,
Yeah.
I had a permit to drive around
Mm.
due to the nature of work that I do. I remember driving into a place called, they call it Mubango, in Vanderbijl Park.
Yeah.
They were hosting soccer tournaments.
Yeah. When you have a permit,
When I was driving with a permit,
yeah, and others don't need a permit.
others were having soccer tournaments. And they were drinking, and you would see police vans passing them.
Yeah.
So hence I'm saying that let us not look at these issues in isolation.
Mm.
South Africa is time to self-introspect, to say, where are we going? Because maybe we wouldn't be sitting with all these other issues. So hence I'm saying that maybe the problem is not in the workplace.
Yeah. It could be that we are targeting the wrong places instead of
Exactly.
targeting the right places, which are super spreaders, for us to control that. Rather
Or
than,
maybe the problem is not COVID,
yeah,
but it's the behavior.
the behavior. And we teach people
Because
how to behave.
if one behaves well, COVID may not be a problem to an extent it has been a problem.
You are just reminding me of something, because this is one chapter that I have actually spoken about in this book, because one of the things that actually keep people in prison is behavior. So you have mentioned the correct part of our control in order for us to be able to get people outside of this.
Behavior.
Let's deal with behavioral issues.
Behavior.
Because if you are given, and it cuts across. You are talking about having driven with a permit, right? And there was a time when I actually drove to another province, and at that time it had actually gone past the curfew time, and I had my permit. But as I was driving, I met this policeman who was talking about the curfew and things like that, and I did not have to even take out because I wanted to check. I simply said, no, I don't have. And then he said, no, you come this side. I went, and then he read the rules for me and things like that. But then he let me go. At that time, I was even thinking, no, this time I must just go and get my permit so that I can actually stop this conversation. But I did not have to do that because he just let me go. But is that the attitude? Because this is the behavior that we're talking about. If you are employed to enforce,
Yeah.
and then you just let people go because you feel like it at that time, where is it actually taking us to?
That's the biggest problem. Because COVID has come.
Yeah.
And it will go. It will pass.
Yeah.
But we'll still have other challenges
Mm.
that can only be defeated
Yeah.
effectively
Mm.
by people who behave right.
Now-
People who respect the laws.
Let's just go back to the workplace a little bit.
Yes.
With all those issues that we have actually spoken about, now the employer is sitting with the situation of, yes, my people, I have checked the viability of them working from home. I've checked all the other things, and but I still feel under pressure because the government wants me to do this. Is there any provision from government that when companies go through these lawsuits, because if it goes to the CCMA, and when a company is dealing with one individual and then suddenly it becomes 2 or 3, 4, 5 people, is the government actually making some kind of commitment to these companies to say, when you go through these difficulties, we are going to assist you? Or it's an issue of, no, you took that decision yourself, then see to finish it. So companies might actually, some of the companies might actually go bankrupt as a result of some of these kind of decisions they
Indeed
are
so.
forced to make.
Yeah, indeed so. No, as far as I know, they are on their own.
Yeah.
So should you make mistakes in ensuring that there is this mandatory vaccination in your company, in your business,
Yeah.
then the problem becomes yours. That is why I think it would be not necessarily easy, but it is better maybe with the big businesses.
Yeah.
Because they can afford,
such
legal opinions.
Mm.
They can even undergo or run some workshops.
Yeah.
With regards to all these steps that have to be taken in ensuring that the rights are respected in vaccinating people. Yes, it can lead to that. It can lead to a lot of companies being sued by employees, because as it stands now, we haven't seen anything with regards to the challenge or how or to what extent this will be challenged.
Basically, like I'm saying, this is a legal opinion that a company actually had to go and seek out.
Indeed.
Now they have this. They are making their decisions based on what the legal opinion is saying. Now think about the South African nature. There is big business. There is this other small medium enterprise.
Yeah.
Now a small medium enterprise that employs about 10 people and so forth, then you don't have enough resources, and you want to comply because your business really deserves to be open at a particular time, and you want to almost enforce that everybody else should be vaccinated, and you sit with such kind of situation, that simply means that this business is closing down. Because if you're going to lose 5 or half of your employees, and you have to employ others and retrain them and all that, it's all money that is coming out that maybe you did not even budget for. And the scale of this, when you look at it, it sounds like it's very much broad, right? But when it comes to the individual companies, it's affecting scores of companies. And some of them which were hit possibly so by COVID itself. And then it's now hit by some of these external factors that are coming through.
Yeah, they were not hit by COVID, but by the lockdown.
By the lockdown.
The lockdown that was not.
Forgive me for saying that.
That was not well calculated. We were locked when before the peak.
Yeah.
And during the peak, the country was open.
Yeah.
So there was miscalculation with regards to that. Yes, you are right. And it is again said that dismissal for refusal to vaccinate should be a last resort.
Yeah.
Meaning that for a company to dismiss an employee, the company should have exhausted all possible remedies, and dismissal should be,
and not having any solution.
Yeah. But because what solutions do they have, and do companies have resources? Do they have enough personnel to implement this? Do they have enough time to do this?
And legal processes can drag for a very long time.
For a very long time.
So if it drags for 8 to 10 months, it's 8 to 10 months of instability within the organization.
Yeah.
And that may actually cause a lot of harm to the organization.
Yeah,
itself.
so this is a challenge by itself, but I'm fully convinced that this is a game of numbers. The government wants to reach a certain target, and hence it is, inviting or trying to persuade the companies to help it in arriving at the set target.
So you are basically saying the companies are helping the government to resolve their mistakes.
I think that.
Let us hold it right there. We will talk about it when we come back. We are taking a short break, and when we come back, we continue right on that high note. Welcome back to the last segment of Resuscitation Leadership Conversations. My name is Manu Ramado and I'm sitting with Kharikhode Gogome. We are talking about mandatory vaccinations in the workplace. We're looking at the legal part of things. And up to now, our conversation has just taken us to a point where we can safely say it's a mountain to climb. But is government trying to use companies to resolve or to mitigate the mistakes that they have made? This is where sometimes accepting the guilt is not an easy thing. And in order for us to sort of move away from our guiltness, we must find a scapegoat to try and carry that for us. I asked you this question and you never answered. Do you think the government is actually playing that?
I mean, to be honest, it is possible.
Yeah,
it is possible. We are talking to South Africans. South Africans know how things are done. In this country, we know the challenges we have, and that those challenges were caused by leaders. It was caused by leaders. So there is that possibility. There is that possibility that the company might be trying, the government might be trying to resolve its own issues using the companies. But like I said, it's unfortunate that these companies are of different statures. There are those companies that do not worry about this. They've got resources, and who knows? Maybe they're even being funded. Who knows? Who knows? There are a lot of questions. Maybe they're being funded. To roll out this. Who knows? Who knows?
Or to even carry the message of government.
Who knows? Who knows?
And all these institutions, it's not only with companies, but with all other sectors of society.
Yes.
There could be people who have been funded to carry the message.
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. Anything is possible. So it could be a possibility. But something dropped in my mind that I think one should also mention this. I think there should be people who are wondering out there, why is this man, it's like he has deviated from the law and all that. No. The law that ignores the realities of our people, that law is dead. We cannot deal with the realities or the challenges that we are facing as a nation in isolation. That is why we are attaching all these behaviors.
But in fact, there is a consideration in law. What do you call it? Is it there's an aspect of law that actually deals with the circumstances around the societies and all that.
Law applies in everything. You go to your social workers, they will tell you there should be some area of the law that they studied. Because you can't isolate. In fact, the purpose of having a law, the purpose of practicing law is to make sure that people are protected.
It's the custodian
in whatever area of their lives. We can't. So we need to use the law in challenging or in addressing all these issues. Issues of service delivery. We cannot isolate those issues from these.
Because precedences are set.
You have a family of 10 who are staying in a shack. There was a lockdown. You're expecting them to stay in that shack the whole day. Inside.
And your solution to them becomes, no, come and vaccinate. And they vaccinate, but they still die of hunger.
Those are the issues that we're talking about. Say, South Africans, we're not saying this because I'm not saying this because I'm against the government per se. That's not the motive. But the issue is that I love as you love, out there as you love your country. I also do.
True.
But we need to be honest.
After all, if you were not loving the country, you would not actually be a lawyer. Because
So we need to face these issues head on to say, guys, let us look at the realities. Because to tell you the truth, something that burns in my heart is the lawlessness in this country. People do as they like. law enforcement officers are not respected.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because of their own doing as well, their
Yes.
behavior. When principal, when you were still at school, you would see your teacher and run away
Yeah.
without being chased.
Without being chased.
But now our learners, pupils, students,
With
assault
all these
teachers.
rules that are there and the implementation to control the environment.
So you are in this environment,
It's like
and now you are trying to control people to say, be vaccinated. Which people? The very same people who behave this way.
yeah.
Can you achieve it?
Last week I went to Krugersdorp and I wanted to shave, and I found South Africans gambling. And as they were gambling, and with gambling, if you're throwing dice, that dice is going to be touched by everybody. And it tells you how this messaging is not reaching the right people. Because if that can be considered a super spreader, for example, so about 10 people are going to be infected by the same dice. And if this is the message that has been driven to communities to say, in order for us to minimize the spread, let us also move away from issues like dice and all that. And these are the people who are hungry, who don't have money, and who are, gambling with the little resources that they have. But in the process, what do? They maximize on the chances of them having to be infected through those kind of things.
My conclusion to this matter, or my summary to this matter, is as follows. Vaccination cannot be the only solution.
Yeah.
And had we dealt with all these other issues effectively, we wouldn't be sitting here at a point where we're trying to force everyone to vaccinate.
Yeah.
We would be sharing this message. The government would be sharing the message of safety.
Yeah.
Put on your mask, sanitize, social distance. The government would be sharing these to people who behave well, people who obey the authorities, people who obey the law enforcement officers. So we wouldn't be here. So what you have just said now is a sign, it's a clear sign that there is no control
and integration of fighting this thing together.
Yes. So now the government wants to capitalize here in workplaces because this way you have organized people. So these ones you can easily deal with them. In fact, they are also hungry.
Yeah.
They are afraid that they will be dismissed.
Exactly. Especially with the huge number
yeah,
of
with
unemployment.
The huge number of unemployment. If you say to this fellow who struggled 10 years to get this employment, and you say, Emuna, vaccinate or either you lose your job. Many will vaccinate. Because they are afraid to lose their job because they know what it means to be unemployed, feeding 5 children and a wife. So you force this dude because they are in some desperation kind of. But what I'm saying, all that I'm saying, or in summary, what I'm saying is that there are a lot of factors that the government should in whatever sphere of government, local, provincial, national, there are those elements that should be looked at. There are those elements that should be looked at.
Here is the thing. I know we have actually broken it down. 2 weeks of talking about this and trying to share as much as we can. And of course, just opening up South Africans to take up an opportunity to think deeper and to also analyze the environment around themselves and to find their ground. Because more than anything else, it is the rights that South Africans are given by the Constitution that must be protected at all costs. But I do know that as a lawyer and a practicing lawyer with a law firm, surely some of the people might actually wonder, what does he do? What services does he give?
Oh.
He is passionate about service delivery.
Yeah.
But what is it that he services?
Yeah.
Talk to us about Gogome Attorneys.
Okay, Gogome Attorneys, we are a law firm, like you have said. We are based in, we have 2 locations here in Gauteng.
Yeah.
Florida Park, and also in Vereeniging. Then we offer different services ranging from your administration of deceased estates, the divorce,
Yeah.
and maintenance, family law, personal injuries claims, claims against the road accident fund for injuries or death
Yeah.
that result that is a result which is a result of a motor vehicle accident. And also we can assist you with claims against the government where maybe you were mistreated by your Department of Health and
Yeah.
all that, for medical negligence, and also against the police where maybe you were arrested unlawfully so and detained unlawfully so, because it happens a lot. And also in cases where you were prosecuted maliciously.
Yeah.
I mean, where the motivation was not justice to be served, and but it was malicious, other reasons, that are not legal in prosecuting you. So in short, that's what we
And
do.
the new one is coming.
Yeah.
Of post vaccination.
Yeah. But after all, I'm a human being
Yeah.
who's passionate about. I want to see our young people taking responsibility for their lives,
Yeah.
bettering their lives, because no one will better their lives.
I've seen a lot of your videos.
Yeah. I'm passionate about that, but again, I hate injustice.
I guess that's what made you a lawyer.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it when people say, vote for us, we'll do 1, 2, 3, and they end up not delivering.
Yeah.
Because remember, there's a contract between the party and the voter, the candidate and the voter, to say, this is what I'm giving you. Okay, I vote for you because you promised me and you don't deliver.
Yeah.
Then I have to divorce you.
Ish.
So
yeah, it's such a painful relationship.
Yeah. So the individually, I hate that. I hate that.
Ish. No, thank you so much. There are ways that people can actually get hold of you.
Yeah, they can check our website, www.gogomeinc.co.za, or our Facebook page, Gogome Inc. Artenis, or they can call our office line on 011 333 0018, or they can WhatsApp us on 081 751 4981. So that's how they can get hold of us.
They can get hold of you with everything else. I wanted to ask you your last words, but you seem to have wrapped it up when you said you hate injustice.
Yeah, man. let us. South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's our country, and then we need to take care of this in our little corners wherever we are. Let us just make a change. Find one person, two people, and give them hope.
Yeah.
Take out 10 rand, 20 rands, buy them a loaf of bread. Give them a word of hope.
Yeah.
Those who must be chastised, chastise them, reprimand them. We need a better society.
Yeah. Today, I came back from church with one word that was preached, to say, tell the truth, even if it hurts.
In fact, if you have the truth to say and you don't say it, you are a liar.
Yeah. If you have the truth to say it
and you don't say it, you are a liar.
You're a liar.
Otherwise, in fact, silence, in that case, your silence is very loud.
Yeah. This is how we come to the end of this conversation tonight. My name is Mano Ramadha. Of course, I am the author of this book and many others, and you can check up on these books on www.manoramadha.com. www.manoramadha.com. And on social media, I go by the name Mano Resuscitation Coach or Resuscitation Speaker across all social media platforms. There are messages that the government is actually pushing. And out of these messages, when it comes to mandatory vaccinations, there are options that can be considered. And many South Africans are sitting and believing that there are no options. And when it comes to our government, they should just go back, read from their scripts, and find those possible alternatives and push all alternatives to fight this scourge together. Otherwise, one solution is never going to be able to create a harmonious situation. And instead, it can breed rejection and pushbacks unnecessarily. Join us again next week when we continue with these lovely conversations and we are dealing with a different topic from next week. From me, Mano Ramadwa, and the team, we thank you and we love you. God bless you.
Do you want to start a creche or a daycare center? Or maybe you and your staff want to improve your skills and qualifications in early childhood development. EduBuild Institute Thohoyandou campus is your answer. We have 20 years experience in skills development and offer professional training courses for ECD level 4 and 5. You don't need prior training or even matric certificate to register. Our classes are on Saturdays at TCN Center in Zwerani.